Okay, guys, nice to see you all. And we're going to start. We have a quick time. We're going to talk about today about VueJS dynamic components. And we're going to do some like hardcore live coding, building a small application together. We don't have much time, but we will try to do it. I made some snippets in advance that will help us achieve it, I hope, if the goddess of demos will be with us. So let's talk about dynamic components. What are dynamic components? So in Vue, we have a nice feature. It's a component that is called component, and I can tell him which kind of component it is. For example, this one will be an H1. I can decide which component it will be dynamically using the is property. I can have some variable and then select the right component on runtime. I can switch between components. This is a very powerful thing, and it can be very useful in several types of applications. When I work with dynamic components, we need to understand that they need to have a clear API. All the components that I switch will need to have the same API, because if I'm going to use a component and then switch it with another component, it should have the same inputs, the same outputs, otherwise it's not going to work. So for example, here we have a component that gets an info prop and always emit an inform event when it needs to inform something to the parent. So all the components will have a clear API, and I will be able to switch them. And this is actually a shape of polymorphism, a way that I can work with different components with the same API and get a great power of reuse and abstraction. So we're going to do some live coding, and we're going to build a dynamic survey. Like, we want the server to decide which form to render to this user, and then we're going to get this JSON thing, and we're going to render a form dynamically. This is what we aim at. And you can see that this is our data structure. It's a kind of a survey, and it has a list of components. Some of them can be text boxes or fancy select boxes or different kind of components, and I will be able to render them dynamically in a loop and get the form that the server decided on. So this is our target, and let's see how it's going to go. Okay. So we're going to do like a hardcore starting from zero, always zero, almost zero. And I'm not going to work with the CLI here. I'm going to keep it very, very light. It's very easy to prototype with Vue without having any CLI, and just going with the basic index HTML, and then add the Vue and the Vue router that I downloaded to this simple lib folder, very old school. And then I have this main.js, and this main.js is marked with type equals module, which will allow me to import and export as I will and get all the power of ES6 module system without worrying about it too much. So this is my main, and starting to work with Vue, I need just to build a basic Vue instance and deliver an object here. And here I can provide a template and have some section, and then maybe an H1 and say, hi Vue. Hi Vue. Okay, and I want to mount this component, so I can use, there are different ways, but I can use this $mount and then say, okay, mount this thing, and then provide a selector. If I have this div here, so my app will be rendered inside this thing. So let's open this one with live server, and surely enough, we see this hi Vue, and let's also open the console, and let's move it to the side and work this way. Okay, so we have a very basic Vue application, and it is working. Next thing that we're going to do is have a single page application. It's very easy. So here under JS, I can make a folder, call it pages, and inside there I can build the pages. So just a basic file, I will call it home.cmp.js, and this will be my home component. A component in Vue is a very simple thing. It's just an export default of an object, and this object has all the options for Vue. For example, if I will have a template here, that will be always the first thing to do. I can have a template, and here usually components are section, so I can have my section, and the autocomplete stopped working here for a second, so I will, okay, something like that. And this is my template. I can have this section, and inside here I can say something like a home sweet home, have this H2, and have like home sweet home. Okay, so I have my component, and I can have different pages. So this is home, and I will quickly duplicate this file and have another page. So I will have a survey page that will, this is the place where we're gonna build the survey. So just a simple, and here I can write survey. And now I can go to my main.js and I can have the different routes. So I can import those two components. So under pages, I have these two components. I just import them, and then I can create my routes. So routes is just a basic array that says where to go. Okay, this is the path for home, this is the path for survey, and this is easy enough. And then I create this router object and provide him with the routes, and it is ready. This router needs to go here to my root instance. He needs to know about this router, and I have my routes ready. So here, okay, I have my routes ready, and here I will need to have the router view. So here I can have a router view, and now I see my home component, and if I will go here to survey, I will surely see my survey component. So this whole thing, it works, and we have a single page application. I can quickly take this stuff from here and have like a routes file. So let's do it, routes.js, and then we can throw all these things here, and then we can import the router from this file. So import router from routes. And that's the router that I will provide here, and I made some mistake. Import router from route, and yeah, I forgot my export. So here I can export default this router. Okay, yes. So now we have the survey, and we would like to have a quick navigation. So I will edit. I have this, yeah, just a simple navigation and the router view, and I can just copy them inside here. I will need to fix the indentation here. There are some disadvantages with working in a simple JS file, but there are also a lot of advantages. So let's fill it. Okay, now I am home and survey. This is a basic router link, and we switch between the two different components as we decided here. So we are ready to go, and we can go and build this survey thing, okay? Now in this survey thing, the first thing that we're gonna need is a form, right? We're gonna have a form, and sometimes it happens, and I found a way to fix it. So let me see, var CMP equals, and let's try now, close it, and try again, survey div, no. And it's, okay, it's not working, but it doesn't matter. We can code it. So this is our survey CMP, and we will need a form. So let's make some room and create a form. Form, and then we will have a button right inside here. And this button will be the submit button automatically. So button, yeah, it's possible, yeah. מה אתה אומר? די. די. אש. Yes, and yeah, we can export this thing, or just export default, and we can export default this object, and now we have a form. Let's see it in action. This is our form, and when we click save, we see this page all refresh, because this is the default behavior of form. But we will need to handle this form in JavaScript. So let's just handle the submit event. And I can call a method here, for example, save. And here I will have some methods. And here I can have the save method. Simple enough, and I can console log and say that I'm saving something. Now, if I will click it, I will still not see it because it's refreshing. My whole page is refreshing. So I will add what? Yes, we can prevent the default event quickly and easily. And then let's say, yes, we click save and we don't refresh and we are saying saving. Okay, now inside this form, let's quickly have some select with the options just to fill it. We don't need this name and ID. We just need these options and just say A here. And let's see this in our form. Inside our form, we have this, and this is the select. But basically, we would like this select to be a fancy select with div and images. So we want to use a component for the select box. So let's quickly create a component. So here I have this pages folder, and inside here I will create the CMPs folder, and here I can quickly create a select box CMP.js. I have a snippet for a basic component. So this is a basic component in Vue, and here I can have my select with options. So I open the main.js again, the survey component, and here I will take this select from here and just place it here for a second. So I have an option and I have my select. And I would like to render this component. So quickly, let's render this component. Inside the server CMP, I can import this component. Yes, that's the one. And then I will edit inside the component section. So this component will be, I will be able to use it in the template. So I'm adding this select box, and here I can use that component, select box. Let's see it in action. Yes, we see our select box. It is coming from our component. Now, our component would like to get some props and to render these options dynamically and maybe some label as well. So it will get a props name info. And here it will render some maybe label with info.label. Info.label. So now it will not want to work because I'm not sending any info, but here I can simply select some info, and then I can send some CMP here, and this CMP, CMP.info. So let's create some data. So we will have this CMP.info. So here I can create my data. Data is a function that returns an object with all the data, with all the state for that component. So I will have, for example, a CMP, and this CMP will have an info, and this info will have a label. And here I can say, how was your shopping experience? Okay, this is, and let's see, and yes, I'm getting this label here. How was your shopping experience? And I can render those options. I can also send through some options. So we can go with simple array of different options. So I will have like great, fine, great, fine, and okay. Okay, so now let's render those options inside the select box. So here in this option, I will use v4 and work with that. So I will have opt in serve in info.opts, and then I can render the opt right here. Let's see it in action. Yes. So we have this thing that is render, and from the survey CMP, I'm using this select box, and it's nice. We're going to switch now to work with our real data structures, not a single CMP. I would like to have a full survey. So I will remove this CMP from here, and I have a snippet. Let's see, survey. Then, yes. So our survey has a title, and it has a CMP. And this is how was your experience, and it's not working yet because here I will need to loop through those CMPs because I can have more than one, and then to render those select boxes. So I can have like a simple div, and this div will loop v4, and here I can go CMP in survey.cmps. And this is my div, and I can render this select box and render this cmp.info, still not working. Survey.cmps, CMP, I didn't save it. Yes, it works, nice. Yes, it works. And also if I will have another CMP, another select box like this, then yes, sure enough, I can have another thing, something, and then A, B, and C, or just A and B. So now we have a way from our JSON to be able to create this form, and for now we have only select boxes, and actually I can create different type of components, and this will be our next thing. But first, let's also handle the fact that when the user selects something, we want to inform the parent. So let's do it. How do we do it? We can have a change event here, and then we can have some report val, some function. And then we can have this select bounded with vmodel to just some basic val. So I will have some val in this data, something. And then I will have this method report val that will report that the value was changed. So it will do this and then $emit, and then I will render an event. And the event that I would like to emit is setVal. And then I would like to send this .val. So now, whenever the user changes something in the select, I am emitting this event up to the parent. So this is my parent right here. And if I would like to handle this event, I will go this and then setVal, and then I can call a function setAns. SetAns, this is the function that will set this answer. And for now, let's just code this method here. I will call it setAns, and this method will get the answer. And let's just report it to the log and see what we got. Survey got, and let's print it. Let's see if it works. So I'm changing something fine, and survey got fine. And here, survey got B. So I'm emitting whenever someone changing, I'm emitting it up, and it's nice, okay. I'm being able to report this val, and here in the survey CMP, I'm using this select box, I'm providing some info and handling this event. Now we are ready to switch to a dynamic component, because if I will have another component, for example, a text box, then I will be able to see it in action. So I'm creating a new file, and I will call it textbox.cmp.js, and I will create just a simple component, say something here, and let's make it happen. So here, we're gonna import the text box. And this is my text box, oops. Text box, and then I can use this text box, add it here to the array of components that are valid, that are available for this template, and then I can actually take the type of the component. I can use here the component, coming straight from the core of Vue. And then I can use the is. If, for example, I will use the is and say that you are a select box, then it will be a select box, sure. But if I will use something like cmp.type, and then cmp.type, then I'm transferring the responsibility all the way to my data. So here the type of the component is select box. And here the type of the component can be text box. Okay, your name. Okay, so let's see if it works. Yes, the first component is select box. The second component is a text box, which is actually this component that does nothing for now. And if I want to create this text box component, I can quickly do it like that. I will use the label, and then I can use an input and use vmodel to bind it. So vmodel, bind it to some val. So this is the val that I will have here, some state. And then I can also use onChange and do the same thing, basically, report the value. Report val, and if I will copy this method here, report val, it will be exactly the same one. So our text box, and here we want to render the info.label, and we are ready to go. Let's see it in action. Not working, info is not defined. Yes, info is a prop that we need to define here. And now, yes, we are also being able to render some text box, and we decide which component to render based on this type. Now it's time to take these things from here and move it to some service, because this is the way it works usually. I will have some survey, service, and I will use some method like get by ID, and it will be the job of the service to provide me with the survey. We don't have this, what did I miss? Oh, I deleted one. And this service, we need it, so I can import. Yes, and we don't have this service yet, so let's build it. It's a very simple service, like all the services that we will see today. So I can have a services folder, services, and inside here I can have a new file, and it's called surveyservice.js. Services in modern JavaScript are just basic export default. There is no need to work with classes and object-oriented and stuff like that, and dependency injection. ES# module is good enough. I can have get by ID here, and I can implement this function. Function get by ID, and this function will just return some survey hard-coded. So I will have var survey equals and I can just take the survey from here. So here in the survey component, I remove my survey. So again, you all know this trick. Back, and then go straight. Oh. I lost it. Okay, never mind. So this is my survey, and I will move a step further. I will have a null here, and usually we're gonna get this survey when this component is created. So let me quickly do it. When this component is created, this is the good place to initialize this survey, this.survey, and then I can use the survey service and use the get by ID. You see, I get autocomplete and stuff that some people think that we need TypeScript for and things like that. No, it's simple enough. We can get the survey, and let's see Still not works. Get by ID is not a function because here I didn't save it yet. And here I wanted to do my paste. Okay, this is my survey and I have an extra. Okay, and not yet. CMPs of undefined. Oh, and here return survey. Yes, okay, now we have our survey and we get the data from a service. So we started to feel that this is a real application. Our survey CMP is getting the survey and then it is rendering dynamic components based on what this service returned. And we already have two types of components. We have this text box component and this select box component. And I want to add something to the text box. And through that, to show you something interesting about working with modern JavaScript. So let me open my survey service. And let's say that I want to have some options here. Some options. What's your name? And here I would like to have Yaron, Muki, and Pookie, and I would like to use a data list, you know, data list, to allow the user to type something in the text box, but also to choose something from the list. It was called the combo box in the past. Yeah, so I would like to have this combo box here. So let's see how it goes. I'm gonna open my text box, and in HTML, I can use this list property, and then I can provide here an ID of a list. So for example, if I have a list ID, something like that, and then here I can have a data list, and data list have options. Actually, it's these options look like that, options, and then here I can have the value. So, and we know already that we would like to, oh, I have the snippet for that. Let's see. Yes, let's take this. And okay, so here I'm having this, this data list, and inside I have some options. So immediately we can see here that yes, I'm getting these options to my text box, and it works nice. But a problem, if I'm going to use another text box, and here I will have something else, A, B, and here I will have something, and then I don't get the right ones. Why is that?
Option.
The list ID, right? We know that it's very problematic to use ID in modern HTML because I'm using the same component a few times, right? And I'm having two components that are using the same ID. So what can I do here? So there are different ways to handle that, but the best way that I think there is to use the component ID. So I can use the component ID. So here I can use the computed property, computed, and then I can have the list ID, which is actually a computed property. And here I can turn some template string. And for example, I can do something list, and then I can use this, and then ID, UID. Now, this is a unique for every component, and now I'm getting the right one here and the wrong one here. Oh, now it's not enough because here I'm not using binding, just string, but I will switch it here and here. So now it is a variable. It's not the string list ID, it's a variable. And now, yes, sure enough, we are getting the right response. So this is also something that you can find sometimes. Okay, let's see my plan. Yes, please do. Yes, it's true. I can create a data here, and then in the created, but it's very nice to use computed like that because it never changes and it's cached and it's very elegant. And I don't have a created here, so. Okay, so Great, let's have another one. And this one I'm not gonna code because we already got the picture, so it's gonna be very quick. And I'm gonna add another component, and this component will have a linear scale. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like radio buttons. So linear scale dot cmp dot js. That's the one. And here I have yes. Let's see if we get it. So we have info.label, and then we can loop like that. By the way, in Vue, you can loop, just give it a number. For example, this loop goes 5 times. So, so here I'm getting some mux from the info, and then I'm rendering radio buttons, and same thing, emitting some set val, and that's it. So let's use this component, and here we quickly import the linear. I think I got so lazy that I created a snippet for, okay, no. Okay, and yeah, it's not the right one. So linear scale, that's the name of the component, linear scale, and I can use this linear scale right here, linear scale, and then I can add it here to the components, because otherwise I won't be able to use it. And now I can have this linear scale in my service. So in my survey service, I can add another one. We don't need this extra text box anymore. And here, just how was it? Oh, linear scale, thanks. Linear scale. And then, how was it? And then we can have this max thing. So max 6 or 5. Let's see, what do we get here? Yes, it works. So we have this linear scale, and it's also a dynamic component with the same API. That's the trick when working with dynamic component. I'm using the same API. Okay, and okay, now let's handle the answers quickly because we can learn something from here. So I would like to have the answers. So I will have like an answers here, and this is all the answers that the user have. And in Vue, it's so easy to debug stuff. I can just, I don't know, put an HR here, and then use some pre, and then here I can just render the answers, and it will render an empty array. Sure enough, here it is. But if I will add the answer to the answers, then I will be able to see them. And I can just go like this dot answers, it answers dot push the answer, but actually it's gonna work. So we see that we are getting the answers, but actually we need to keep them in the right order. So if the user will answer this first, we don't need it first thing in the array. So the best thing to do here will be to use this dot answers equals new array, and we can create it with the right length from the beginning. So it will be this dot survey dot cmps dot length. And now we are creating the array from the beginning on the right size. So we have 3 components. So we have place for 3 answers. And then here, when we are getting an answer, we would like to get the index of that answer. So we can splice it into the array in this index. So I can do IDX, and I want to splice 1, and that's the answer. Spice, to add some spice to it. Yes, so this is what I love, and I need to get this IDX here. So basically here, when setting the ans, I need to explicitly refer to the dollar event that is holding the answer that the child component submitted, and then I will need this index. And this index I can get from the v4 with that syntax. And then let's see if I'm answering this one first. Yes, it's updating the right one, and that's great. So we are handling the answers right, and we have dynamic components, and what else do we need? Okay, I created yet another last component just to show that we can do really, really nice things with that. So I will just copy this component. It is called Photo Tuner, and this component is based on the Cloudinary API for image manipulation. We are hosted in Cloudinary, prouded to be hosted here. And we can add this component Photo Tuner. I just copied it to my project, and let's just add it to our survey CMP. Let's quickly add this Photo Tuner.js, and we call it Photo Tuner. Photo Tuner, and then we can add it here to the components. And for it to show, we need to add it here to the service server. So we will need to have this another one, and it will be a Photo Tuner. And if we will look at the Photo Tuner component, this component expects also a label. So the label can be something like tune your photo, tune your profile photo. And here we'll need to provide some URL. Let's see, inside the Photo Tuner, it is presenting an image, this image URL, and it is using image URL. So here I can provide with some image URL. And yes, let's see, I have this image URL somewhere here. Copy it for a second. Yes, that's the one. And let's just put it here. It can be any image URL, really. Yeah. Oh. Yes. So, yeah. Got it. So let's see it in action. Yes, this is I see our component already rendered proudly. So this is the Photo Tuner. This Photo Tuner allow me to zoom inside, or do some zooming, do something with the size, do something with the angle, and also some effects. It's just a basic implementation. And then when I'm clicking done, it is sending this preference to my survey. This is the preference that I would like for my profile image. Yes, please.
Because I didn't see you doing any CSS.
Yeah, yeah, you got me. I created this main CSS. It has 20 lines of CSS.
I was already wondering what's going on.
Yeah, just so it will look a little bit nicely. I didn't want to add any libraries for CSS, so it's very basic, basic stuff.
Okay.
Okay, more questions, please?
Wait, are we done?
No, I'm not done yet, but I'm getting there really
Let's
quickly.
wait with the questions for the finish.
Okay, so let's keep it for the finish. So let's do some really quick things here just to finish. First of all, our survey service, one time we'll need to get this stuff asynchronously from a survey, from a server, but we can just use promise.resolve. And now this returns a promise. So all our code will work with the promise. And here, due to the async await power, we can just say that this is an async, and then here we can await this survey, and then we can move on. And this surely works nicely. And I have some error somewhere. Not read properties CMPs of null. And let's see. Promise.resolve of the survey, CMPs of null, and I'm missing something. A template? A template? Cannot read properties CMPs of null. That's a VueJS. Yeah. Okay, doesn't matter. what did I miss? I did async and await. I'm waiting to the survey. And let's just comment this code, this console, CMPs of null, and I don't get it why it's not working. But, you know, it can never work 100%. Someone see it? I don't know. Okay, so let's quickly wrap this thing up. And we have this idea of a dynamic component, and let's see what we can do with these dynamic components. So first of all, we created a dynamic survey with different components, and I didn't show you Keep Alive, but Keep Alive is a nice feature that is related also to dynamic component. And the dynamic component has 2 extra lifecycle hooks, activated and deactivated. And I want to show you some two applications that are real and working with dynamic components. Okay, here is one of them. It's like a Google Notes, and I have really different types of notes here. And all these notes, they have some common functionality, but I can pin them, and I can edit them, and I can create many type of different notes. And those notes are all dynamic components. One of them is a video component. The other one is an audio component or a to-do list component. And they all have the same API. Yes? One of our students. And I will show you another component. It's like a Wix, but for creating wedding invitations. I can get started, and I can start empty. And then I can create my wedding invitation, okay? So I can add some stuff. All of them are dynamic components. So this is one component, and here, Mookie, you know, Pookie, and I can add more like that. For example, a gallery component, and I can customize it to my own images or maps, and I can say where exactly is my wedding. In Petah Tikva, of course, or somewhere else. And all more components, I can have a countdown component. I can say what the date for the wedding is. And I will have a countdown component. And one last one, I can have a gifts component. So this is like European style, all the gifts that we want. We can add different gifts. And then I can publish this website, and all my guests will get this thing. And if I will inspect this, inspect, and then I will look on the network and see the data structure coming for that stuff, I will see exactly how this thing is built with dynamic component. So we can see that. Too big. Okay, I'm here and in the preview, and you can see that this is the user, and this is the components that he has, an image title, and the carousel, and a countdown, and a gift picker, and those all are dynamic components. So this is quite amazing. We can build meta applications, very generic applications with this idea of dynamic components. Whew. Okay, so questions, please. Any questions? I know that I was shooting in the dark. I didn't look you in the eyes too much because it's never been done in 45 minutes until now. And thank you.
So first of all, Yaron, thank you very much for this amazing, quick, almost without any glitches and stuff, but it's because everybody is praying to the goddess of live coding. It was amazing. It was quick, informative, in my opinion, at least. And all the cheers up before, well deserved. And guys, if you have any specific questions, please raise your hands. With the mics, yes.
Okay, any questions about what we did about dynamic component specific? Very much. Yes.
If there are no questions, can you elaborate on the activated and deactivated part that you went over?
Yes. So really quickly, I can show you this dynamic this keep alive thing. So, or maybe I should explain it from here. So basically, when I'm using this selected CMP, so when this selected CMP is changed, the dynamic component is deactivated. So it gets an opportunity to do something. So it's a lifecycle hook. And the new component that is placed here is getting the activated lifecycle hook. So this is not really created. It was already created. And I can also use keep alive to keep it in memory, even if it's not shown. So this is the idea of those two lifecycle hooks.
Anybody else, guys? Okay, thanks again to Yaron for his quick.
Thank you very much. So before I go down, I will quickly tell you what we do. So I'm Yaron from Mr. Bit. I'm the CTO. And we do 3 types of things in general. We do development. So we do projects. We take projects from end to end, from product all the way to deployment in productions. And we do consulting. We help companies decide about frameworks, about tools, about scales, about securities, about the various aspects of a modern cloud-based universe. We do training. So if in your company you're looking to hire the developer or take them to the next step of really top-of-the-art web technologies with service workers and progressive web applications and all the things, the new things that really change the world of web development. We are here for that. And we have a great bootcamp for smart people that takes people in 12 weeks from just being smart people to become great developers. There are many guys here, also Jonathan and Sneer, that will come up next. They are a graduate of this program. If you know great people that will become great developers, do let us know. Thank you so much for Cloudinary for hosting us here.